trend that you think is emerging, do you want to architect to that, where then you might want to take?
So first of all, I think we do want to continue to innovate to be able to support as many inference tasks as possible. As we look out at where demand is right now in the market, it's actually, again, there are the OpenAIs of the world. There are a handful of large companies that are building kind of these frontier models, but that isn't what the average company is necessarily building for. And so we have relationships with those companies. I think you'll see them use our inference platform more and more. I think we will have to invent tech in order to make that work. But I think we have the right team to be able to do that. So I think we want to support everything over time, but at the same time, there will be just the nature of the beast will be that it might not be at every moment we can support every possible model. But I am amazed at the work that our team has done to support the breadth of models, including some very large models across our platform, and we're inventing the technology to be able to do that. Behind the scenes, we've been an NVIDIA partner for quite some time. They make great silicon. And we've deployed that, but you will see us have much more diversity of silicon across the board. And I think it's kind of like the old Steve Jobs line, focusing on speeds and feeds, like exactly what chips we're using, exactly what the ratios are, we think is a mistake. We want to abstract that all away from our customers. And what we're seeing as we experiment with both the silicon, which is coming out of companies like AMD, Qualcomm, Intel, in the GPU space, as well as a number of the startups that are in this space, is that the right answer might be different depending on exactly what the use case and what the model is. And so it might be that an AMD GPU is better for one model and an NVIDIA GPU is better for another. And so behind the scenes in our CPUs, we have Intel CPUs, we have AMD CPUs, we have ARM-based CPUs that are running, and customers have no earthly idea which of those is actually running behind the scenes. And I think that is what we want to do in the GPU space as well. And so I think we will become more heterogeneous over time. That will allow us also to drive down what the underlying hardware costs are. And what we're seeing is that there are very big advantages that you can get in terms of performance, even on NVIDIA GPUs, if you don't necessarily use CUDA and some of the platforms that are there. If you start to program a layer lower than that, and those are the engineers that we have, are the ones that love taking those challenges. I'll give you to load and unload a model, standard kind of APIs on an NVIDIA chip, takes about 2 seconds, and models in orders of magnitude less amounts of time. And then you can imagine that then allows us to have much higher utilization rates, because I don't have to dedicate a particular chip to a particular model. I can literally load and unload models as they come on board. That's the type of innovation which I think actually creates a real moat for us as we go into space, and it allows us to get more practical use out of every dollar of CapEx.
A friend from UBS.
Awesome. Thank you for the day. Roger with UBS. Matthew, you were talking earlier about giving content owners more controls over how their content's accessed by AI. That seems like a massive opportunity. Just how do you think about that playing out, and how do you see that kind of trickle into kind of Act 1 Bot Manager?
Yeah, I mean, so the first thing is there are a number of media companies that had used other providers that kind of were like, it's not worth switching. And we'd say, we can do it cheaper. So this is the first catalyzing event where I think you're going to see a huge amount of media companies switch to Cloudflare from some other providers, because no one else is thinking about this and helping them. And this is, we get to grow with you and figuring I think some of the work that folks like Bill Gross have done is really interesting, and that I think you'll watch this space, because I think there's a lot of things that we can potentially do with them. And the steps feel like we're kind of, it's a 3-step process. Step 1 is give people the analytics to understand what AI companies are using, and every publisher that puts